The relationship between the United States and Mexico, it is an economic relationship and many others as well. To talk about that, the Consul General, Jorge Illescas from Mexico. Thank you for being here again.
Thank you for the space, Mike.
I want to talk about the remittance tax that's being proposed. I don't think a lot of Americans understand what that is. Can you explain what it is and what you believe the implications would be?
Yes, well, this is a proposal in the current budget bill that is being discussed in the U.S. Congress. One of the pieces of this potential legislation is a tax of 3.5% on any remittances going overseas. We think in the case of Mexico that if approved, this specific disposition would affect both economies, local consumption especially, since the migrants spend more than 80% of their income here in the U.S. and they send 20%. And for those economies are very important, all these resources.
And 3.5% doesn't sound like a lot of money, but if you think about, I guess the closest thing for us to think about is an ATM fee. Yes. There's a fee to take money out of an ATM machine. Yes. So that any time a Mexican national sends money home, this would be a 3.5% fee on that money, correct?
Yes, plus what they have to pay to the sender agency.
Right, so if it's Western Union or whatever it is. So this would be damaging, especially when many of the people that are here working are considered working class or low income workers.
Yes, especially here in Arizona, being so close to the border. Let's say if one migrant sends $1,000 per month to Mexico, it will be deduced like $35.
So $35.
So that means that he may not spend those $35 on the local economy, the local businesses. He may miss going to the movie theater. He may miss to pay or donating to the church or anything.
Have you had discussions with the congressional delegation in Arizona, and how have they received your message on this?
Yes, well, we have discussed this with political and economic and actually religious stakeholders, and we are in trying to reach as soon as possible to the Congress delegation of Arizona in order to explain our concern in a very respectful way, of course.
So I want to shift for just a moment about what's happening in Southern California. We've seen some violence happening with the protests there. The concern is those protests could become violent here in Arizona. What do you say to the people that are protesting? They obviously have a right to protest in America, but what do you say about some of the conduct when it gets violent?
Well, I will be very quick and very straightforward. I don't recommend that any person who's not a U.S. citizen be part of the protest. First of all, if they are permanent resident or lawful residents, just remain. They don't have to. I don't think it's not necessary that they protest. Also, to the Mexican-American community who may be protesting, they need to do in the peaceful way. And I suggest this very respectful. If they're using any flag, they use the American one. That's it.
Isn't it interesting that the message gets lost? Yes. Because as soon as violence occurs, we focus on the violence and not the discussion of why you're out there protesting.
Right. Yes, because in this chaos that is provoked for many factors, you are not able to identify where's the origin of the problem. Perhaps we have activism or protesters who are doing in the right way,
yes,
the protest, but it's confusing in some point.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the time and the expertise on this, and you're always welcome back on the show. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, sir. We'll be back.